Our God is ruler of the nations. Go to the poor, tell their princes and their kings. Tell to the children of our future generations, He is God and He has done amazing things.
Well, hello again. Stephen Baker here from Trinity Reformed Church, Bloomington, Indiana, New Geneva Academy, and here I am again sitting in the shady grove of Cedars Christian School, a school we have here in Bloomington for kids. And I'm talking to you about eschatology. Now, if you've watched the first video, you remember what eschatology is. Eschatology is simply studying and thinking about how God is going to end His story. And of course, remember, His story is history. This is God's story. He's writing it. He has already written it. He knows exactly where it's going. He knows exactly how it's going to turn out. And when we think about the end of the story, it's really always the best part of the story, isn't it? Because that's where everything, in a good story anyway, that's where everything gets made right. That's where everything is going. And it might be bumpy and scary and who knows what all through the story, but when you get to the end of the story and it's like, yes, that's a good story. Well, that's what eschatology is. We're studying the end. And that's a good thing. It's a wonderful thing. It's not a scary thing at all for Christians. So before we can talk about the end of the story, what do we have to do? Well, of course, we have to start at the beginning. What is the beginning of God's story? What is the beginning? You'll never know why the end is so good unless we understand the beginning. So we read about the beginning of the story, of course, in Genesis chapters 1 and 2. I'm not going to read all that to you. Hopefully you know it. If you don't know it, get out your Bible and stop this and read it, okay? Genesis chapter 1 and chapter 2. And we know how the Bible starts. The first line, right? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And He makes the whole world, and He makes it a very beautiful place. He makes the oceans and the mountains and the sky and the land, and He puts plants on the land, and He puts animals all over His creation and the sky, the birds. You probably hear some birds right now. I hear birds all around me. You hear we have the birds that He makes. He makes animals and bugs and snakes and all that stuff that goes on the land. And then He makes everything that's under the water, all the fish. Some of these fish we haven't even found yet. We don't even know what's all down there. It's just amazing. So God made the world and He filled it. So He made a place. A place. And He made a very special place in the midst of this whole huge world, this whole universe that He made. He made a special place called the Garden of Eden. And the Garden of Eden is not like our kinds of gardens. Our gardens are places that we have little places where we grow tomatoes. I've got a great garden going this year. I've got tomatoes, I've got peppers, I've got beans, I've got cucumbers about to come out of my ears. It's a good year for cucumbers. All right, we have gardens like that. But the Garden of Eden is not that kind of garden. The Garden of Eden is a place where God put in the special place on the earth where He would come and meet, where He would come and be in a special place, in a special sense. And think about what God put in that place. He put plenty in that place. Remember how the Bible talks about that? All kinds of plants that bore seed and fruit, and all of it was wonderful to see and wonderful to eat. So God made a place. He made it plentiful. He filled it with plenty. And it was a place of peace. It was a place of sweet and perfect peace. And it was a place with people. Remember? God made Adam and Eve. God made Adam first, put him in the garden, told him what to do, told him what not to do. And then God made Eve to be his wife. And so you have this place filled with plenty, filled with peace, now with people in it. And why did God make Adam and Eve to be in this beautiful, wonderful place? Did God make Adam and Eve to sit in the Garden of Eden and just be on vacation for like eternity. No. God did not make Adam and Eve to sit in the garden on vacation for all eternity. He gave them a purpose. What is the purpose that God gave them? He says, when he made Adam and Eve, he says this, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth and subdue it and rule over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the sky and over every living thing that moves on the earth. He says, I want to make men. Why? I want them to rule over the fish of the sea, over the birds, over the cattle, over all the earth, over every creeping thing. He made man with a purpose. And the purpose is for man and his wife together to fill the world with what? With people. With people. To do something, to build things, to discover things, to take the wilderness of the world that God had made and make it into the garden, to tend the world, to keep it, make it beautiful, make it useful to man. That's what God made Adam to do. And think about this. Just think about what this would have been like. Okay? You have this beautiful place filled with plenty, filled with peace, because no one's arguing about anything, no one's sick, no one's hurting anybody, no one's sad. God is there with them in this garden. He comes and he visits them, and he walks with them, and he's there with them, and he speaks to them. So you have peace, and you have a purpose. And the purpose is for us, for Adam and Eve, our first father and mother, to fill the earth and to subdue it and to make it beautiful. A place, not just a garden, but a whole world of peace and plenty, filled with people who know and love God, and who love each other, and who live in harmony and peace. So that's how the story begins. Now, is that what it's like now? I hope you're living in a happy home, where you have people that love you, that you love, where you have peace, where you have plenty to eat, and a warm place to sleep at night. But this world is not anymore a place of peace. Well, how did that happen? What does that have to do with the end of the story? Well, we'll talk about that next time.
Our God is ruler of the nations. Go to the poor, tell their princes and their kings. Tell to the children of our future generations, He is God and He has done amazing things. Let's tell the children of our future